is the one. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Friday night. It is our sips and our chat. And we are coming to you from Relationship Flow. How is everybody doing? Doc, how you rocking out this evening?
I am good. It's been a good week. And I am rocking with some homemade pina colada.
Okay. What's your glass say?
It says Carissa.
Okay. Okay. Personalized glass. I have a fruit punch mixture. I don't have no names on my glass. Just a fruit punch mixture.
Who made the mixture is the question. Who made it?
I made mine. I made my mixture.
I made my mixture too.
No, we're not. Hey, Coco, listen, we're not asking you. We're talking about Mary. We got to keep tabs on who's making drinks over there.
Okay. Well, this week I made my own drink. Yes.
Okay.
At my own kitchen.
Watch your eyes, everybody. Pay attention. Watch your eyes. If eyes look up, just watch your eyes.
They right here looking at you. They right here looking at you. Queen April, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Are you still fruit juicing, vegetable juicing in your green cup?
I am. I don't have a green cup. I just have my Arizona mango juice today, but I start my juicing again, because I'm just still kind of in my little vacation flow, but restart tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Facebook user.
Okay, Facebook user, how you doing? If you give permission to StreamYard, then we be able to greet you personally. But thank you for joining us. Darrell, I'm sorry, it's early in the show. Hey, Daryl, how are you?
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you ladies as well.
We gotta be nice in the beginning.
He has on his radio personality voice right now.
Right. Because we never know which voice is gonna come in. It don't take too many minutes, but we never know what voice is gonna come in just a few minutes from now.
Right. We gotta start off this way.
We gotta start off nice, because otherwise we be putting up this right here like Darrell.
There it
is. How you doing this week?
I'm good. It's a good week. I'm glad it's finished.
Is this the week that you posted that they made you go to work?
I think was that this week? That might have been last week.
Oh, okay.
Might have been last week. Terrible. Trying to make me work. I don't go there to work. How dare they?
Saying that for years.
They finally caught me.
Hey, Neil.
She was the Facebook user?
Okay, yes. Okay, yes. Hey, fam. Good to see you. Okay, so we always start our conversation out checking in about some current events, and in the green room, the conversation started. So I'm going to pass the mic over. I don't know if it's going to April first because she got the debate, or if it's going to go to Daryl, but I'm going to open the floor up for them.
Well, we were just talking about the Juneteenth flag. I have an objection to the colors and who gave this man, Ben Hayes, the authority, the right to change our flag colors, to change our theme. Since Juneteenth was in existence, started celebrating, we started recognizing it in our own communities. It has always been the colors of red, green, and black. But as of this year, now that it's a federal holiday, they are now recognizing and blasting these flags all throughout the state buildings. They're raising this flag up to represent Juneteenth. And I object to it personally. I think it's an insult. I don't think it actually represents us. The red, white, and blue, I just don't agree with. The star represents Texas, the Army general who came in to deliver our freedom card. So that's what the star in the middle represents. And I'm not sure about the outer star, what that represents. But I'm just in total objection. I know there are some people who feel that we are Black Americans, African Americans, and therefore the color should be red, white, and blue. But I just object. So
and that was my only question would be, what color should it be?
Say it. I don't know who's breaking up, you or me.
It's probably me, but what colors should it be? What colors would you suggest?
Red, black, and green.
But it's not an African holiday, right? It's not African descendants of slaves were freed.
No,
right?
the red, black, and green represents our Black culture. Those are the colors that we've always adopted for us.
From where?
It's a Black culture. Doesn't necessarily.
But
and actually, I've seen flags.
Where did that stem from?
And actually, so actually, I've seen the flags. Gotcha. The colors represent red, black, green, and then yellow. So those are colors of
like
Africa.
The land, blood, red. So it's funny because I just don't know where. I know the flag I think represents like the red is the blood and green is the land, and but I just don't know where it exactly came from. I never really researched where the red, black, and green came from as well.
Is it on the screen?
I haven't seen that Juneteenth flag.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. I haven't seen that Juneteenth flag, and that's crazy. If someone just made it and no one is giving any pushback to it, I haven't heard anyone say anything about it.
No, actually,
people have actually received it and put it on as their cover, which I shared with April as soon as I saw it. They've had it on their cover story, cover page of their social media, like just receiving it, not doing the further research that she has, interrogating, the conversation. Which we should do for everything. We should really kind of question where certain things come from, and as opposed to just receiving things as they're given to us.
That's very interesting. I definitely want to do some more research in that and see how did that come about? How did this man get the okay, or how did it become something that was just widely accepted?
Yep. So he actually started working on it in 1997, and just over the years had other, and I don't know the people that he had working with him, collaborating with him, but there's, I think, 3 other people that have helped create this design, and it got approved. And I'm just like, well, when did this occur? And
approved by whom?
Right.
Those are the questions that I was asking. So
approved by some people that is already at federal buildings and posted as soon as the bill was signed. Like that's a couple people that it go through.
Right.
But I mean, there's no pushback from any of the, any of the pro-Black movements or anything. No one said anything about this. Like, I haven't heard. This is the first I'm really hearing about it. Right? I didn't hear anything about it, so I'm like, why has no one said anything? Did they accept it, or is it something that is accepted? These are questions I need to have answers to, because what made this man start doing this in 1997 anyway? Like, what was his goal? Who was he connected to that was like, I'm going to see Black people out and make this? Like, what was he connected to make this okay? Like, is this, it's like a Rachel Dozar type thing? Like, what is going on here?
So the
You know what I
creator,
mean? What is
he's an
really going
activist.
on?
He's an activist. His name is
Okay.
Ben Hayes,
Okay.
and he's from Boston. And he founded
Okay.
the National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation.
Oh well, he founded it. There you go. He said, "I'm gonna help y'all out.
So
I'm gonna
that,
found this
that,
for you. I'm
that
gonna take
gave
it
him
and
the right to create a flag for us. For us.
well,
Um,
he said he copyrighted it. It's his. Juneteenth is his. That's what he said. I own this. This is
he,
your flag.
he, and again, I just,
Period. Dot. End
yeah,
of story.
You know what I
yeah,
mean? He said, I created it. I own this. I copyrighted it. I have rights. This is your flag.
Because in
yep,
For you,
'97, he
you
knew
people,
it
this,
was
I'm gonna
coming
let you.
someday.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Wow.
And
But
I
see,
had the
that
same
goes to show that
questions.
we don't. Go ahead, Adrian.
I have the same questions that you have, Daryl, and I'm like, what? When did this occur? Who approved this? And my third question, yes, why aren't we all objecting, or why didn't anyone object to this? Why wasn't this challenged, or why wasn't, and it could have been challenged. Maybe we just wasn't aware of it. But
Mm-hmm.
when I look at the names, they don't sound black to me. I know the illustrator is for sure not black. And that illustrator is the one that did the final touches on the design, and she's white. And I'm sure Ben Haith is white as well. Now they do name some additional collaborators on the design, but I haven't been able to get a face
But
to their name.
they
Who
got to
you
get.
reaching to,
They got to
Daryl?
put a Raheem on there. No, I'm
Who,
fixing my
who you
light.
reaching to, Daryl?
Fixing my light. I'm fixing
Oh,
my
okay.
light.
All right. I just.
So the interesting part about that, if this is all true, it further shows how we don't take care of our business. Um, we don't, we don't own a lot of things because we put it out there and we allow them to take it. I mean, blues, jazz, all these things
Agree.
that we created, we don't own it, and then it's taken from us. And then somebody else is making money or claim the fame, or in this case, I'm telling you what your flag's going to be.
Right.
That's on us because we're not taking care of our business and owning things and getting ownership. So that's sad.
Yeah.
That's really sad if that's the case.
Mm-hmm. We get so intimidated by whatever the process is, like whatever the process or steps that's needed to be taken. And I just think about this from a things being taken from us, or us being afraid of the process, from just a message I got today of somebody wanting to take the step of filing for an LLC, and just being afraid of the process and just thinking that it was like cumbersome. And I'm like, it really is not cumbersome. It's 4 pages and you know your business. Like, if that's the lane of what applies to what your business is. Because she was like, well, is it different types of a LLC? I'm like, okay, so this shows that you didn't even look at any of the information regarding what you're asking for. And I'm glad that I was, somebody that you trusted to ask, but I just really know that you didn't even look. It's 4 pages, maybe 10 questions, and $125.
Boom.
Boom.
That's simple.
That's simple. And not to say, I mean, I think that I'm like doing this sidestep to, not sidestep, but side by side to the flag. Like, if somebody else feels the way April feels, that it should have different colors, different design, a different team to create it, who was really invested in understanding? I mean, the Juneteenth is important enough of a holiday that we should be in the forefront to kind of plan it, and what things would we need to resemble what it looks like on the other side, just knowing that it's eventually going to get approved, like trusting that it's eventually going to get approved. And when it does, how do we want it represented? Like,
Sometimes when we're not invited to the table, we don't kick up enough dirt to get in the door. You know.
Well, again, we didn't even know that there was a table to be invited to with this. I look at it, probably they were doing it, making moves, and people might have been doing the individual things, but they were thinking a lot bigger. It looks like, and like we're gonna do this big so that now when it becomes a national holiday, they own it. They own the holiday. They own our holiday. They're gonna tell us. They're gonna dictate to us how to celebrate it.
Right.
That's crazy.
It is. I was looking at Twitter, and there is a similar situation going on with what's his face and his alcohol.
Michael B.
Jordan. Yes.
Oh yeah, the rum and the Juve.
And the people
Caribbean culture.
Yes, they are up in arms. They are up in arms. Like, no, how can you take this and act like you made this up?
I guess I have to look at it. I didn't hear that one.
Well, Juve is a well-known, if you're familiar with the Caribbean culture, like Juve is their Caribbean celebration that has a lot of meaning and celebration, and each island does Juve different but similar.
Right.
And so he just randomly, out of all of the words that he could have selected in the American dictionary to call his rum.
Okay.
That's what he thought he was naming his brand.
Right. Yes.
So Juve is a
and he even tried to spell it the same. Like he could have played it off and spelled it different.
Okay.
I'm sorry, April. What did you say?
So this is what he named his alcohol.
What he attempted.
What he attempted. Okay. And it's called Juve. Jouvert.
Come on now, get it right. J apostrophe. Oh,
right.
Juve.
Okay. I got it.
You know, I'm really Caribbean in my real life.
So, right? Exactly.
Just because I gotta represent. I got some people who think I'm really from certain islands, and I don't want them coming back to me on my direct DM. Like, okay, you ain't protect
all that
culture.
Over an apostrophe. Jeez. Over an apostrophe, really?
I got pictures to show proof of Juve.
Okay.
Thought we were better than that.
At 4 a.m., you are better than that.
Okay. So he's not allowed to call his brand of alcohol Juve because it represents the Caribbean festivity
culture.
Is it that he's not allowed? Like he could do it because
he
that's
did it.
Not trademark. He did it, but
that's
saying like
he did it, and
he can do it because
tried to trademark it. Well,
right.
It looks like he did trademark it, but he's getting a lot of
kickback because he's
So
but
what
it goes
was
to show you don't take care of your business. I'm sorry, if you don't take care of your business, then that name is a name, and you could be using it, but now he owns it.
Right.
Now for you to use it for your little now for you to use it for your little festivals, you might have to check in with him because he can shut it down. He shut Juve down now.
That ain't happening.
He better not ever go to an island again.
Yeah, ever. He don't want no more stamps on his Caribbean passport.
He said, that's fine. You ain't got no more Juve either. You're gonna pay me every time you try to use that name.
Okay.
He can't collect.
I don't think that's gonna happen, though.
I believe he has said, okay, he gonna find a new name.
I think so too. He's been awfully silent.
Listen, all this free publicity for it. I wouldn't change my name of it.
Down her little posts about it.
Listen, I wouldn't change anything. All this free publicity. Jeez. Everybody talking about it. Like, oh, get this
you don't want no spells put on you.
Right, especially the people from Trinidad and Tobago. They're like, this is disrespectful. They see it as disrespectful.
It is.
Well, as long as he doesn't sell it in Trinidad.
It is. It
It'll
is.
be all right. It'll be
Hey,
all
So
right.
you think it, so is that
listen.
saying that's the same thing saying you don't want them to sell the flag to you in Target, which they are going to sell it to you in Target,
Nah, listen.
as well as they're going to sell it to you
I
at cultural festivals that is targeted towards people of color.
Well, see,
so I think he
there's
said
a.
that
Go ahead,
he
Derek.
said that he's sorry and that he's going to send a couple cases over to the next Juve festival.
Really?
Yeah,
Ah,
drinks on
okay.
me.
Somebody who drink water H2O with lemons in it every day.
Right.
Listen, I bet you be sending over it would tear it up.
And
Free
now
alcohol.
he had now Nicki Minaj done commented on it, telling him he need to change
Yeah,
that.
what did she say? Okay.
Let me see. I had
Who
read
is
it. Let me
she?
see if I can find it.
She's from a
What
Caribbean
is
culture.
Yes. Yes. She's Trinidadian.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay.
And they actually
So-
targeted directly to the Trinidadian culture, although other cultures have experienced Juve.
Gotcha. And that's why. Okay, that's why I meant it. They said that he was culture vulture. They said he was still culture.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand what they're talking about because I
They
didn't
were
look
talking
into
about
it. But okay.
cultural appropriation. Yes.
So,
Yeah, you
Lord.
gotcha.
So, what does Juve mean? And to
Oh.
no, well, this is a valid
Listen, we
question.
better stop saying the name before Michael shuts our show down for using his word that he copyrighted.
See, with every name, there's a story behind it. My question is, what's his story behind naming his alcohol Juve? Is it very closely, to the meaning of their celebration or their culture?
I think that's part of the problem. People are wondering, like, where's this coming from? It's not like you're from this island.
Where's it coming from?
It's not like you're related to anybody from this island. So what are you doing?
So, but again, I think maybe he might be totally away from the island. Maybe someone's like, yo, this word, the word, it means X, Y,
And
and
it might
Z,
have been
whatever it
sex
means. I don't know what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and he's like, yo, that's dope. And that's an interesting name. It's definitely
And no one on his team said, hey, we might need to do some checking around,
hey, listen,
talking to people from Trinidad, seeing how they feel about this.
A contingent upon his team and what they look like, they just know it's a dope word, and they might like Juve took it. A lot of people co-opt things anyway, right? So people could have fed him this, and he was like, yo, this is dope without researching himself, and now you're here. Because it definitely didn't seem like he knew where it came from. Like he didn't know like this was something that was, this big and yada, 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 yada.
So the word means opening of the day.
What's it mean, April? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
But it says the opening of the day. You got an extended definition?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I was
Opening
saying,
of
I
the
did
day.
some research, and it means it's related to their freedom, to when slavery was abolished, and they combined it with the carnival.
Okay.
So it's the reason why it was
June 19th.
offensive.
Michael B. Jordan owns their June 19th over there.
But the reason why they considered it offensive because it's connected to their oppression. And why they celebrated their freedom, but they conjoined it with the carnival. It's like freedom, like Black people being able to dance in the streets, being able to control their time, their day, how they operate. So that's why
it commemorates their emancipation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, it's just like the Jewish dude in our June 19th.
Right.
It's exactly the same type of concept almost. It's really very similar. He only don't tell them they gotta ask him how to celebrate it.
So tell him what? Say, I'm looking at an
what
article.
He wants their new flag to look like.
Yes. I'm looking at an article. So he is going to change the name.
No, he has Nicki Minaj tweeted him and was like, yo, just change the name. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, it's offensive to your people, oppressive. I'll change the name.
Right.
He said,
he did apologize.
But I think he liked the name and just didn't research it.
Right.
That's what I
Him
think.
or
exactly.
his marketing
It sounded
team.
like, yep. His marketing team knew exactly what it was. We used to stealing from y'all, so it should work.
Hey.
9 times out of 10, when we steal from y'all, it works. Usually works.
Right,
This time,
right.
and again,
Nobody's gonna say anything. It'll be okay.
And even if it is, so we don't care what you say.
Yes.
So, by him being a stand-up guy, he really was like, you know what? My bad. I'm gonna change.
I appreciate
when he doesn't
that.
have to, because he owns that. Yeah, me too. Because that whole brand has to change, and it was already rolled out. So he's changing everything up. Has to get a new name. But that's mad respect because he doesn't have to. He didn't have to do that at all. You know, he didn't.
I like his apology.
Awesome that he did.
His apology is very,
and it seems real. You know, it seems real.
Yeah.
No, April. I mean, Mary. No, Mary. No.
No, I accept his apology. Like I take it in, but I just wonder what apology would April want from the other dude that she named. I didn't retain his name for the flag.
Ben Hayes.
Yes, just because like last Saturday when she received the information, she texted me on some fire and she was like, I need to talk about this right now. So it was like, okay, let's step back off the ledge. So that's the reason I'm like, okay, so what will be the apology that this person, or what conversation, because I'm not even sure he would have the same type of humble personality in this situation. So like, what would you expect from this organization who feels that they've offered you something to represent Juneteenth?
So
for you to have your holiday and for his people to also have the day off.
So for me, there is no apology, right? If you're really an advocate for us, you know, trying to support us, you should know that you dictating something for us would not be the thing for you to do, right? That just off the rip, you shouldn't be trying to dictate anything for us, right? Telling us what it's like. That's the problem. And there's not really an apology to be had if you're so-called an ally, if you want to work with us, if you're trying to help us, but you're doing, you're co-opting it and you're trying to lead it from your position. That's a problem to me. So there's not much of an apology you can give. You have to step back and let us do it and then support whatever we do.
Ditto. The man has spoken.
Oh. Okay, that's one so far this episode. You're agreeing with Daryl.
Humbly.
And she gave you the head nod. Like,
he said it very nicely, you know, poetically and correctly. So that's all that needs to be said. I would have said it a little bit, you know, maybe not as polished. Well said.
Well said. Well, I want to give a shout out to the Cancer that has stepped into the room and dropped some knowledge while she in her vehicle. What's up, Camp?
Hey, Camp.
Hi, how are y'all doing? How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing
Are you
good.
on your way to a birthday celebration?
No, I had just left Luby's. I hadn't been there in over 15 years. Yeah, I'm on my way home, actually.
Okay. All right. You said you went where that you haven't been in 15 years?
Luby's. Oh my gosh. It's like Furs or Wyatt's. If anybody's familiar with that from down south, I don't know. But yeah, it spoke to my soul. I had 2 entrees.
Okay.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. Well, thank you for rocking it out with us.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, April, for inspiring me. I've been drinking these smoothies and these liquids, vegetables and everything else. So thank you.
Oh, okay, good.
And then you go get the food of life and feed yourself with the food of life.
Oh my gosh, I haven't ate in a few hours, like 6 hours. But it does good for your body and your soul. Like, you feel better.
So yeah.
That's not what Daryl said. He gave you the head nod.
No, Daryl?
No, Daryl, she shouldn't do it that way. She should just stay on veggies.
I mean, pick a lane. He's swerving all over the road. Back and forth.
What'd you say?
He said you swerving all over the food map. You swerving on the food map.
I mean, I'm sorry. I got braces. I can only eat so much, and I got food allergies. My hands are tied.
Don't sound like entrees. Don't sound like your hands are tied.
Ooh.
All right. Any other current events we want to go into, or are we ready to jump into this week's conversation?
We have to jump to it. It's a half hour. No more current events.
Oh, God, you so bossy with these current events. Like, you so bossy.
Well, you know, lately our current events be lasting an hour and a half, so we got to cut down on the current events. The current events be the whole show.
Sometimes, or sometimes they turn into a potluck of an event. Right, right. Absolutely. I mean, we experienced that one time, and it ain't been right ever since.
No.
So this conversation comes to us from a recommendation from one of our panelists, and we always take that from the guest of the conversation, be it live or on the replay, as well as from our panelists. So we're going to talk about self-love in our culture. Like, what is it? Do you own it? And is it really about you? So who wants to jump in first? I'm not going to put the person out, but you know, it is what it is. Self-love, our culture. We've been talking about our culture kind of when we talk about the flag. And then when you think about self-love, that could kind of go a lot of different ways as well, because people use affirmations, define love of self differently, and how it actually works can be very unique for the individual. So, but how does your culture define it, and do you own it? I served it up.
Yeah. Well, you see we see obviously the Trinidad and Tobago community has a lot of love for themselves, because they were like, listen, we ain't taking this, Michael. We're not having it. And them standing up, actually it worked, you know, to the point where he was able to hear them and change the name.
Right. The Queen is in the building. Hey. That's the real boss right there.
You're always there.
Why he got to put himself away from the mic? We can't hear what he say to the Queen.
No. Okay. All right. We'll go sit down and do some lights on or something. All right, go sit down. What else you gonna do? All right.
Go ahead, Queen April.
No, I was trying to think of, there was something that triggered that thought, which is when I sent it to you.
Oh, she admitted it.
Yeah, it's okay. I was just trying to think about what incident came up when it made me think about that. And I want to say that it was a conversation that I was having online where there was a debate. Me and someone was debating about the show The Upshaws. They objected to The Upshaws because they didn't think that we were being presented in positive light, you know, and I was asking how so. And the storyline, and mind you, I believe this person only watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes, whereas I watched the entire season. So there's a story or ongoing stories each episode. So anyway, regarding the characters, Mike Epps plays a dad who is married but has a child outside of his marriage, and he has a baby mama who brings all the drama. And he used to be like a thug or somebody that was in the streets. So the character that he played didn't represent, not necessarily an affluent Black man, but a common guy who just I guess because of his previous lifestyle offended this person. as well as Wanda Sykes, who was always attacking him, demeaning him, breaking him down as a black man. These are his views. And then I'm trying to think.
Is that show on Netflix? Is that on Netflix with
Yeah, Wanda Sykes,
the
Mike
comedian?
Epps, Cornfields.
Yeah, that show is buffoonery.
You believe it's
represent
buffoonery?
it doesn't represent us in a good light, because why do we always have to be out of jail? The crazy baby mother. That's almost that's just normal. That's the same thing we have every time. Like, why does it have to be? Why couldn't he be a businessman or own a company? Something like that. We're always coming from the worst stereotypical type view, and that's a problem. That's the problem with it. We always have to be connected to drugs. We always have to be connected to other children. We can't. It's the negative view of us still being portrayed that is the problem. And then, like I said, in the show, you see how the mom is always talking down to him, and
Wanda Sykes plays the sister, her sister-in-law.
Yeah, his son is having issues because he's not really the dad, and they're trying to. It's to me, it's just all.
And the son, the oldest son, is gay. So
yeah.
Here, and that was his view. That was his view.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, why can't you see it the other way? Here you have a guy, and again, my guess is that Mike Epps played, the street guy, the thug guy, but he transitioned. He cleaned himself up to become an upstanding guy. He has his own business. He didn't marry and have a child outside of his marriage, but let me so his response was, you never see us in a winning moment. We're always losing. Okay. So the fact that, this man changed his life, he changed the lifestyle for his family. He's a business owner. He's not relying on the streets or the government for his money to support his family. He is rebonding with his son that he had outside his marriage, but he's rebonding with his son. There was an episode where he had an issue.
Can I interrupt real fast, April?
Sure.
I just have one question to ask you. How many white TV shows do you see with that backstory?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. There's Modern Family. Where's Shameless? Shameless is ridiculous.
Modern Family. Wait, time. Shame. First of all, Modern Family. Is
Modern
that somebody
Family
was out of jail?
No, but Modern.
Did they come out of jail?
So no. Okay, Shameless.
What I mean? That backstory where Shameless is just a poor family trying to make it, right? So they're just trying to make it. They rob, they steal, they do these things. That's what it is. So you have maybe one, but why does every story surrounding us have to be a man that was on drugs or something like that? Like the new Kevin Hart movie, he's a fatherhood. It's a good movie where he's a I think it's in like a business, some type of business. He's raising his child by himself. All the men in there are positive. There is nobody had no drugs in their history, no gangs, none of that. It's just a regular person going through regular things in life, which most of us do. The stereotypical view where we're all black men are coming out of jail, and even if he made it after he came out, it's still he had to go to jail. He has to have a baby mom. Like, we need to get away from that narrative, because more of us are just regular people dealing with regular things, and jail and drugs are not involved in our.
So let me ask you this: so the issues in this show, that's not something that's amongst our culture.
No. But again, the point that they're making you a stereotypical black man where you were in jail. Why do you have to be attached to jail, gangs, or drugs? They're always attaching us. Yeah, they're always attaching us to jail. Yeah,
okay,
that's very negative view.
I think that
where don't have that story.
Where this becomes a problem with self-love is interfering in the ability to understand your essential worth. If this is all you see and this is what you think, we all come from, which we don't,
right?
Absolutely.
it does interfere in your self-worth at some point. Because your self-worth is built up over of your experiences, things that you've encountered, the conclusions you start to draw about yourself from the experiences that you have,
and thinking that you have to
And it's
go
funny,
through that
we're
particular process in order to, that's the only way in order
right.
to elevate is to go through that particular process, versus those who don't go through that process and have success in their life and love in their life, and and other things as well.
And it makes us that, like, as a people, it makes it more so that we're looking at, we're all criminals, right? We're all reformed criminals. The majority of us are reformed criminals, and people see us outside that way. And we can start leaving these things. Like, I don't know. Most of my friends haven't been to jail or not selling drugs. That's not a reality, right? That's the minimum. The minimum. The small amount of friends I know that may have that, but most of my friends don't have that experience, and we don't want to portray that as an experience that we should have. That's why Boomerang, when it came out, was such a crazy movie, because it was these business people were all, in advertisement, and they were managers, and it was no drug note and all black cast. People were like, this is crazy, because they were seeing us in a light that they didn't see us before, right? We need to have more representation like that, because you can feel good about a movie like that. You can feel good about, like I said, for me, I don't want to put us attached to drugs. I'm tired of seeing us to have, even if we do have a child's mother, why does she got to be ratchet? Why does she got to be, that's how they portray the child's mother, right? So again, you're still getting that love and hip hop type view of a black woman in that place, right? I don't like that, because we're too far removed to be having those stereotypical roles still presented. We got to stop that.
I understand, but I somewhat disagree, because I'm looking at the stories. I'm looking at the stories within the show. Have you watched further episodes in that?
Yeah, I watched the whole season.
Okay, so then
I didn't get to see. Go ahead.
So Wanda Sykes is the creator of that show, or one of the creators of that show. Mm-hmm. So the writing material, the content from that show, all the stories come from her. And so I honestly think that it represents, not necessarily all of our families, but our families. But I think also the show, each character, it talks about, the gay son, and how he came out, he wasn't, and how he thought his family wouldn't accept him, but he did. So I look at the positive outcomes from that show. And it shows that, we're not there. First of all, there's no normal family. Every family has some type of dysfunction, I believe, in their family. And this show shows how they deal with that dysfunction, but in a positive way.
Why do you have a problem with the flag then? There's some positives in the flag. They got a flag, for Juneteenth. We have our own flag on. Why are you not looking at the positives in it?
What's the positive is, I don't see the positive in it, other than it's again, it was created from not one of us, and we weren't included in that what you call them, in that decision, and that there wasn't any, we weren't that wasn't an inclusive decision, bottom line. And I don't think that's quite the same to this show. What we're talking about.
See, what happens is there's a way to get a show on TV, right? And it's like you have to black it up, right? They don't. You have to have a gang member. You have to have these things that you have to have that you don't have in any other program.
There wasn't a gang member. There wasn't a gang member.
No. Well, I mean, he was dealing with gang members because when the big homie came over with the car, when he had the stuff in the trunk and they was going to beat him up,
Okay,
he was
right.
in the gang, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
You're right.
these stories are like so shameless, right? So even if we have one shameless, they have 100 shows showing something different, showing them in a positive life or dealing with regular things. What I'm saying is you don't need to have those other things that are not the majority of our families. But every show has these things that are the negative stereotypes. So we can have a good story.
That's a false statement. That's a false statement. Blackish doesn't have these type of characters, and that's a positive show.
Well, no.
All of our shows does not reflect.
Wait a minute, the majority. So you're going to pick out one. If you're going to name one or two, and I can name 100 that have these themes in them, right? That's our shows, right? That's why they try to pick us to keep us looking crazy. So I haven't really watched Blackish, so I can't speak to it. I heard it was a good show. I haven't really watched it myself. But I know a lot of the shows on TV have this type of element where, again, we're always connected. So Black people in the show are connected to jail. They're connected to drugs. They're connected to 3 and 4 children outside with different women. It's these things are problems. Yeah, absolutely. Positive shows are canceled because, again, maybe not watching them, maybe they don't fit the mold or whatever the case may be. The point is we need more. Like I said, watching that fatherhood show, I thought it was really good. Nobody's in a gang. There's no drugs. It's the dad trying to see. That's a story I want to see. Actually, I felt connected to that story. I'm like, this is my story, right? A single dad out here trying to raise your kid. How do you date with this? These are the stories you should be telling. You can feel good because you're not connected to any drugs. I'm tired. Why do we got to be synonymous with drugs? Why do we got to be synonymous with jail? These things, we don't go hand in hand with these things. Our shows and we can't use things through a colonized eye and start being like this okay because we have some good parts. There's some good parts in there, right? We can't. Got to understand we're still teaching ourselves that we're connected to these negative things that we shouldn't. I don't mind being connected to a single father trying to make it outside of jail, drugs, and all that type of stuff. Cool. Just keep that away from us. That's all I'm saying. Not saying the show doesn't have any positives, but that negative reinforcement that is underlying that's in there, people are seeing. And leave these things, like have to be connected to these things. And that's why I didn't really like the show myself. That's why I thought it was buffoonish because like it has these very negative stereotypes that we've been seeing throughout history that keeps us in the position where we are that other people get and look at us that.
I can see what Daryl is saying, and I don't particularly like when those things are viewed as part of our culture. Just because there are, people who have experienced those things doesn't make it part of the culture of African Americans.
I don't think it's saying, well, I don't interpret it as that's part of my culture. I mean, or that represents all of my culture. I see that if it's a part of my culture, it doesn't necessarily. The thing is, when we read books, when we watch TV.
I'm sorry. Real fast, Abel. You mean party culture? You're saying jail and drug party culture? That's part of the Black culture?
It's a part of our society. It's a part of our society.
Everybody deals with jail, and that's not part of our culture. See, again, that's what I'm saying. You're attaching these negative things to us inadvertently. That's the colonized way of viewing us. Like, we got to make sure we don't get caught up in the colonization and believing in ourselves and believing that jail is something synonymous to us. In our area, there's a lot of people in jail. It's not, right? Again, like I said, think about the most people you know. How many people do you know in jail, right? It should be a small amount of people. If you know a lot of people in jail, then there's something wrong with your circle, right? So
really?
It doesn't have to be something wrong with your circle.
Yeah.
If your circle's going to jail, then there's something wrong with circle because you're making a lot of bad decisions. There's a lot of bad decisions getting made. You don't go to jail for making good decisions, right?
I'm not saying that, but I'm like, you don't want to have a judgmental thought process in regards to people whose life out of a 70-second decision went to jail, it's not necessarily, it is reflective of you, but it doesn't have to be reflective of you, because
If everybody, I
especially
don't think
in
if
this
everybody,
temperature of life today.
if the majority of people you know are being locked up, there's something going on. I'm just saying, right? That means unless you guys are like unless you guys are fighting for freedom or something like that, you're getting locked up that way. If you're marching for something and you're all getting locked up for that, okay, that's cool. But if you're going to all your friends are going to jail, I would say there's a problem, right? There's something. I'm not saying they're bad people, but there's a lot of bad decisions being made in your circle if the majority of your circle is going to jail. Unless you're on the corner with them selling drugs. I mean, and y'all are too smart doing it. Y'all need to. That's not what we're doing.
So every story, the creator is Wanda Sykes. She's telling from her vision, from her lenses, her story. What I'm saying, my point is, it's what she decided to create. What she decided, the lens that she sees it from.
I mean, but we don't even know if that's true, because
what she's the creator.
Absolutely right.
Saying is that a lot of times the powers that be will tell you how things need to be in order for them to pay for it to be on TV, on the record player, and on the radio,
and what they'll support.
Yes. Why do you think there's not more positive shows of people of color? Do you think that we're not making them? No, they're not being picked up. They don't fit the format.
We can complain because we don't have enough Black writers. We don't have enough Black directors. We don't have enough Black producers. So when we put them in those positions and they're creating this work, they're showing their talents, however it may come out. And when we don't support them, then we wonder why we don't have faces on film that look like us, because we're not supporting them. And I'm not saying that, that they have to write stories that support the stereotypes that we don't like. All I'm saying is that what we see on TV, it's some audience is going to disagree. Like, people disagree with the Bill Cosby, because it's like, I don't know any people like that. They fussed about Bill Cosby because they didn't think that it was real. It wasn't ideal. It didn't represent our family.
And you meant the Cosby Show, like the lawyer and the doctor and people going to college.
Right.
We need to differentiate that, since the name Bill Cosby is now synonymous with a different narrative. I just want to be clear.
Thank you for clearing that up.
No problem.
Yeah, sounds like Bill Cosby. Wait, what?
Right. We gotta be clear.
I disagree too what he did. Yeah.
No.
But listen, how many people like the Cosby Show? The Cosby Show was a great show, right? It felt good. You might have people that might have said it was unrealistic or whatever, but I think it was still a good show. For the most part, people loved this show. And again, they dealt with the same issues they deal on every other show from a different aspect. It wasn't from jail, wasn't from drugs. It was this family who goes through things, and that's what I'm saying. That's how it should be. We have more shows where we're regular people going through regular things. We don't have to have the extra, drugs in jail and 3 or 4 kids outside of women. That's just the same stereotypical view of us that's been peddled forever, and you put a little syrup on it to make it taste better. But it's still, the base is still rooted in the same view, the same thing they've been saying about us from the conception of time. They look like, well, he made it. He went to jail, but this one made it. This Negro made it out. Nah, it shouldn't be that way, because most people don't have that story, and we should keep perpetuating the story. But like I said, a lot of these companies, a lot of these production companies need that aspect in it to push it through. So Wanda Sykes' view may not have been that all the way, but I'm not going to support, even though they're of color, some nonsense out. Like, if I think that's buffoonery, I'm not going to support that just because you made it. You need to represent us in better light, and we need to start demanding that we're being represented in better light. And again, this movie Fatherhood is a great movie because it's told from just a person having regular everyday problems in life, none of the other stuff.
And he's about to come out with his stuff again.
I thought he was
Because
retiring.
yeah,
Tyler
but he said
Perry.
that he
Tyler
says that we
Perry's
need love
weird.
again. We need laughter again. I mean, he said so because in his thought we need laughter again. He's about to bring his same cycle of how it is that he views us culturally again, and people are going to go out and support it because that's just what they do. It's like we're going to be creatures of habit.
I like Ruth's statement.
Buffoonery.
You know, I when I watch the show,
Tyler
I look
Perry.
at it. No, her statement was looking at it from the perspective of us, you know, enough to know, or I have enough sense to know what's good, what's bad, what to take in, and what, you know, what to absorb and what not to absorb.
Right, but you have
And
that toolkit, but a lot of people are looking at these shows as that these are their parents, these are their structures or things that's being poured into them as the right and the wrong, and they don't have any other guidelines outside of these shows to teach them or show them the way. You have other structures that have been put in your life that kind of tell you when you're detouring. So I think that that's where it's the gray area or the blackout area, like where you're like, okay, well, we need something else that's informing them that self-love and our culture looks a little bit differently, because otherwise you telling me that this is the script that I have to go through in order to survive. Like I gotta let him beat me up because that's what love looks like. I gotta go rob these couple stores because that's what it looks like, and I gotta go do this bid because Uncle Ray did it, and so forth did it, and that's the rites of passage. Because on the other side, I'm gonna get these brownie points, or I gotta have sex with this particular person because they got status, and it's gonna give me stats and the zip code. Like that's a whole culture and a self-love mindset for certain people.
Think about it. It's saying, you know what, I can go to jail and do this crime, but you know I probably make it because
I'm not gonna snitch.
He went to jail, he made it. Yeah. This guy on the show. Oh, you know what? He went to jail, he made it, he got his own business, so I can do it, right? We have this. The issue, April, really is that we have so negative views out there of us on TV, in media, in music. There's very rarely any positive views. Watching this stuff over time definitely gets into your subconscious.
I agree with
that. If that wasn't the case, if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be so tripping over like love and hip hop and how they act and housewives, and you see in real life, you see this life imitates TV sometimes. Life imitates music. This is real, even though we try to deny it. So when you keep seeing these same things marketed at you all the time,
it must be right.
Maybe some other people, you know, are strong enough, but some people get, over time, this becomes real. This is how you act. When somebody says something, you pop off. You throw a drink. You punch a girl in the head. You know, you don't know you're going to jail for this stuff in the real world because you see people doing TV every episode. These images of us and these negative views, they have to stop. And this is Wanda Sykes, to me, is just perpetuating these stereotypes. You know, that's all you're doing. Yes, you may be having some regular themes in your buffoonery, but it's buffoonery at its best. It's buffoonery at its best, right? And even the production is not even the best production of the show. So I don't think they're putting a lot of money into it anyway. To me, I don't like that. I watched it. I didn't like it. I thought it was it was definitely the food for the course. The same thing that we're been getting over and over and over again. And I'm just tired of seeing this like that.
So I have a question, Daryl.
Yes,
and it's a show that I didn't watch. I mean, I don't watch many shows, so that's not a rare thing. What in the world? Asparagus?
Asparagus.
One of my favorites.
My pee gonna smell funny later.
You know what? Why did you have to say that?
Okay, I'm gonna go with my question anyway.
Are you gonna also have funky spunk?
Right.
There it is.
Right. So you said that you watched the entire season when asked that question, correct?
Yeah.
What made you, even though you thought it was buffoonery, to continue to watch it and give it the ratings that it had to keep the show on air?
So what happened was, Netflix just continued to play, was played one day. So I was in and out. Like I can't remember all the episodes, and I don't remember everything that happened. The whole season went through. So like I said, it just so I was watching it first, trying to give it a chance. I'm like, oh, Mike Epps, Wanda Sykes, the people, and Kim Fields, correct, is the wife, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So like I didn't really see the whole thing, but I seen bits and pieces of it as it was on. I think I watched the first 2 episodes, and then it was like, okay, this is not really, kind of silly. Like I think the last episode I saw was the cops came and I guess locked the kids up in front of the house, something like that.
What?
So like they're dealing with these things, but it's just the other stuff. It's kind of like when Bill Cosby was telling Vanessa when she brought home the dude that was the maintenance man, and he said he's a nice guy. He said, but you brought him home, and it's like you made this nice meal, but you're on the trash can lid. And that's how I felt about the show. I felt like, yeah, there's some content in there, but you're doing it on top of a trash can lid. It's already the base of it was already dirty because of how it was presented. I wish it didn't have the backstories that they had around the people, and I could have really maybe watched it more and got more from it. Like kind of like I said, I haven't really watched Blackish, but I think there are 2 mom and dad that work and they're just having different things that come up in life. That's how it should be, right? You shouldn't have to be attached to drugs and that type of stuff. That's the issue I have because I'm tired of seeing this and that. Like, yes, it's really the same story sprinkled with, it's the same story sprinkled with some things that happen in life, but we don't have to come from that. That's the only problem I have. And too many of our stories come from that. And I'm tired of seeing us come from that. We should, have more stories where we're coming from just regular type life type thing. What's wrong with that? Why?
And to
that?
some viewers,
that is regular life.
And my point is, you can't appeal the entire Black population because someone's going to be disappointed or disagree with what's being shown on TV that either represents us or doesn't represent us. That's my point.
What doesn't represent us is jail and different baby mothers, and that doesn't represent. So I don't care what it is outside of that, but stop having that be our base. Stop coming into us like that. To every time something with us, it has to be attached to that. I don't want that. That shouldn't be what's attached to it. Again, I keep bringing up the fatherhood. I don't like Kevin Hart, but the show was a great show because you didn't have to worry about any of that other. It was just a Black man trying to figure out how to raise his child alone and date, and it was real life. That's real. To me, like I said, I was like, this is me. This is my life. I kind of connected to it. I can't connect to my ex, right? Yeah,
right, but even as he connected to it, it's a lot of things that that would define or be something that I would connect to that is never represented on TV. So that would be a whole culture that a lot of shows don't even touch on. That is other things that you would represent. So it's like there's no way, as you just said, that they can actually capture every single person. But when they do, it's like, okay, great. Like, this is something that really, really resonates to me. And it's like, you got to grab onto that. But it's like, it's so far and few in between until it's like, okay, why?
Right.
Thank you,
I just,
Ruth.
as a Black man, I'm tired of being seen as a criminal, former criminal, or going to be a criminal. That's what it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, he was a criminal, but look, he made it. He's a good one. He made it after jail. Stop. And that's not what I want to see. I want to see Black men in more of, again, regular everyday life without the stress of jail. I might go back to jail. I'm on parole. That's not us. That's not everybody. That's let's stop giving
that's
that.
That's not all of us.
It's not even the majority of us, and we need to stop having that view. So that, again, we talk about self-love.
And we gotta stop acting like other races don't have that
exactly
as a base as well.
They may have substance abuse.
Right. They have the same experiences, but it's not being thrown out there as the base.
Over and over and over again and punching you. That's why I asked you what shows that are white or like look, The Heights. The Heights was a great movie with just dancing and nobody was in jail. They were having fun. They were dancing. They were singing. They won a lot. It was just a great movie around different cultures. That again, did it have some issues with that movie? Absolutely. Colorism and things of that nature came up. But outside of that, the movie told a great story. It showcased the different Hispanic cultures, a lot of them, not all of them. But it was a positive movie. There was nobody worrying about going to jail, nobody going to get shot, nothing like that, right? We don't have movies majority like that. We don't have majority movies. Most of our movies are not that, and that's a problem. Most of our images are not that. And as a black man, I'm tired of seeing this. I want to see it more positive. Like I said, I just want to be in a regular show. Most people have these shows with white and Hispanic and Asian. None of them have the stories where they were in jail for the most part, and they had different baby mothers but they made it. They were in jail, but they made it. That's our story. That becomes our story. And I'm tired of it being our story because it's not.
Okay, so then, but we allow ourselves to be skipped over as Black people. I can't even say melanated in this particular conversation. We allow ourselves to be skipped over every time we can validate or kind of fight this conversation in any cost. And I'm going to use the Kensington conversation in this situation, in the sense that when we talk about substance abuse has been a concern forever, since the 80s, and it has impacted Black people, Hispanic people, Caucasian people for years. Right? We agree on that, right?
Yes.
But now that it is predominantly impacting more of Caucasian people, it's a major epidemic that they got to do something about right now and have all of these interventions and RVs and all this type of things to help and support. But you flooded the communities back in the early 80s with these same substances to wipe out. Yeah.
With the heroin way before that.
Right. But who did they target? And there was no reprieve for who you targeted. And there's still no reprieve when you think about, I don't really want to go into that because that's really taking a detour, but you don't support Black people in any of these conversations. So then why would we expect anything different that we don't fight when it comes to how we're not protected in media for how we're seen on TV? We haven't done anything to be represented differently, other than fight the system.
A lot of times people want to be acknowledged, or they want their shows on TV. They want their music played, so they go along to get along. They go along to
get the cash,
to get the money, or to get the recognition, or to have people know who they are. And they don't, they don't stand up, and you can't really blame them sometimes.
Right.
Coming from where they come from, it's like, all right, I'm gonna take this signing bonus of $1 million and buy my mom a house and get my family out the hood. Yeah, I'm gonna sing about shooting up some people. That's what
they don't think about sustainability.
Yeah. And Ice Cube talked about how we don't own any production companies. We don't own any of these big things. Like Tyler Perry doing what he did is amazing. But he has his own view for the movies and things of that nature he puts out, right? I don't think he puts out some are good, some good. That's Tyler Perry. But he himself had to take it upon himself. If I make these movies, I got to put my money behind it. And that's the only way
why I like people like Issa Rae.
Absolutely.
Can you speak more to that for people who are not familiar with what her platform is and what she's done?
Issa Rae started on YouTube.
Insecure. She started on YouTube with was the Insecure Black Girl. And her shows are really positive and about positivity for Black people. I haven't seen anything that she's done where she's perpetuating the stereotype.
No, she's definitely telling stories from a great point of view. She's funny, and it's like it's real life, like that real life, but she puts spin on it to make it funny. And you know, I really like it. I don't like her sketch show too much. It's not really that funny, but she's dope, and I think she's authentic. She's authentically her. But the way she did it was, you know, she had so many viewers on YouTube that she kicked the door. And when she came in, like, look, I have my view for what I'm going to do, and this is what I want, right? I'm not going to change. So, but she had the power because, listen, I don't need to, you know, because I'm killing on YouTube right now, right? But if I come, I'm coming this way, you know. And she still has ownership. She still has she's still creating and everything on her show. And so the difference between her and
enough
Wanda
people
Sykes,
don't feel like they have that kind of power,
right?
And Wanda Sykes definitely should be able to, you know, navigate a little bit, navigate in those waters. But sometimes people choose not to.
Sykes is not as big. She's not as big as you think she is, right? She might be big among us, right? A segment of us, but that crossover, she doesn't have. The difference between her and Issa Rae. Issa Rae came up through YouTube. Like, Wanda Sykes didn't have a YouTube, right? So Issa Rae had that, you know, millions of followers on the rip. So I'm gonna bring. Yeah. So what HBO is really buying, they're like, you know what, we're gonna subscribe. If we can get half of her following to come over, that's maybe, you know, maybe people get that subscribe to HBO because they want to see the show. That's what they bought. They don't care about the show. They care that hopefully her people will come and buy this HBO package now. And that's why, and then she was able to keep her, you know, whatever she wanted to do.
Authenticity.
Wanda Sykes is like, absolutely. Wanda Sykes is like, listen, I need money. And Netflix gonna give me a check. Guess what I'm gonna do? How you want me to do
get that check?
So we need somebody in jail. But she's like, you know what? I'm gonna make it the best way I can. He got out of jail. Okay, cool. When he was in jail, it's still okay, right? But he got to have 3 baby mamas. Okay, 3 baby mamas. He has 3 baby mamas, and one got to be ratchet. Okay, we'll make her ratchet. And he got to have a kid. That kid has problems, and he's a thief too. Okay. I mean, come on. So that's the problem. And I don't think Wanda has the ability to be as authentic as she wants to be. To have that power.
Yes. And that's the difficult thing, standing up, especially when they dangling that money in front of you.
Right. And not getting distracted by whatever carrot, be it money or, you know, whatever they're dangling in front of us.
How do we know that, you know, I think, and I know this is a hit against us, but we don't support our own. If it's something positive, we don't really support ourselves.
I mean, look at, you know, we could probably have a full room audience, but because we don't talk about shenanigans, we talk about shenanigans, but we talk about upstanding shenanigans.
Yeah. And I'm kind of, I don't know if we don't support our own. I think a lot of times that what happens is the positive gets bought out because money usually outdoes whatever your morals are sometimes. So these, what we call good things, just buy from top. And once they detract from the top, the bottom falls apart, you know? So I think that usually it's not too many people that stay authentic to themselves. We have like a Spike Lee, but look how tough it is for him to do things, right? He's usually pretty much authentic, but it's very difficult for him to even put stuff out. So
I've never seen this show, but is she on the show, Wanda Sykes? Is she actually on the
she
show?
plays the sister-in-law.
Is she a gay woman on the show?
No.
With a girlfriend?
No.
I wonder what the ratings would be if she was. Right.
Yeah, why didn't she write that in there? This is who she is.
Her nephew just came out as being gay.
Right, but I wonder if
Okay,
her
so I didn't see
ratings would
that,
have been
but
different if she was authentic of who she is in life on the show.
no, again, you have to go back to what they want. The black man has to be gay, right? If you're not in the dress, he has to be gay. So that's more of,
So a whole debate
now
about this
all these,
on Facebook.
yes. So if you look at it, all the black man has to be gay. It'd be okay for her to be gay, right?
So we
Everybody knows
don't have
she's
any
gay.
gay
It would
men.
make sense.
So we don't have any gay men
would make
in our community. We don't have any gay men in our community. Okay.
So what happens is you check off how many boxes with that, because there's a white man on the show. Why would he be gay, right? So why does the black man have to be gay?
With gay white men.
No. What I just said was with the limited people that we have on TV and so what they do is make this young black man gay. Why? There's a white man on the show. He could have been gay. They could have story around him being gay. Or guess what? Wanda is gay in real life. She could have been the gay grandmother. Like she could have turned gay or became gay or whatever the case may be. That doesn't make sense for them, right? Because they are like, that's not a big deal. But now we're going to take this young black gay man and make him gay. If you, a lot of these shows have black gay men. Like I watched The Rookie, the young guy in there, he's gay. The one black guy on there. A lot of these shows put the black man, because then now you're marking up you're marking two boxes. You got a black man and you have a gay man, 2 for 1. Because you need these on shows. You need certain things on shows for them to go through. You know what I mean? You need certain things. That's why that white guy on this show, the Upshaws, you want to check all your boxes. You have the white guy, and I think his daughter's biracial too, right? The white guy on the show.
I've never seen the show. I don't watch.
What white guy?
TV
what white
like
guy?
That, so.
The cop. Cop is the friend that be over all the time.
Oh, okay.
His daughter is biracial, right? I'm pretty sure she's biracial.
I don't recall.
She hangs with, if I'm not mistaken, his daughter is biracial as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think when they got
so
locked
you
up, I
watched
remember
more
it was
than 2 episodes, Daryl.
No, the second episode. Well, when they got locked up, the second episode they were out with the car. I remember that was his daughter because he was the cop that came up to the cop, and I'm pretty sure I thought that was his daughter because I thought she said dad, and I think he was biracial, right? So you have a biracial, you have the white guy, you have the girl, you have the mom, you have the rat one, you have the little black boy who's not doing well in school, and I think he was stealing, and you have the dad in jail, like it's all this other stuff but we do have this in our families, in our lives, but we don't have it the majority. We don't have to see it every time we do a show. We don't need to see that. And other shows, you don't see them presented like that all the time. You see them having real, like This Is Us. Like I love This Is Us because you have this, even though he was, dropped off and adopted, but he's not that, and their family is great. They have a great family in it. So it's like that type of stuff that I want to see. I want to see us in winning, and it's winning for the majority of the time, not all the other nonsense that goes on. That's the problem. But I mean, even This Is Us has, the whoa, what are you doing, Cam? You have the mom, the mom was in jail, and that's why her kid was adopted. I'm like, you can't get away from this. Why it has to be them? That's all our storylines go back to that. I love this show, but then the mom who was on drugs and his dad was on drugs. I don't think they even went to jail, but they were all drugs, and that's how they adopted the other little girl. She was on drugs. Like, God dang, why are we all testing drugs?
So then how do we use what is given to us and reframe it for how it is we define self-love and our culture? Like our culture is the experiences that we've had, and we are evolving in different ways and different things, but how can we reshape it as far as how we love ourselves and how we activate moving forward?
To be honest, I think in terms of reshaping, hi everybody, I'm back.
Hi, Cam.
Hi. In terms of reshaping, I think it's all about having self-confidence. and learning how to take care of yourself day by day, a little bit by little bit. I would like to say the mainstream African American experience is not synonymous with everybody. But I don't believe in taking away parts, bad, good, indifferent, negative, whatever. It's all woven and strung together. I think if you get rid of one part and not the other, you're not being your whole true self, your identity. And so in the diaspora, Black people around the whole world are a mixed match or mosh podge, what do you call it, of cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing is not always synonymous with the other. And that's where we have to get out that mindset. Oh, like, so when it talks about self-love and having a balance, if you only know one side of yourself, get to know all parts. It's like truly facing who you are as a person, knowing yourself, your personality deep down. Not what's out in mainstream, not what somebody done said, word of mouth, not what somebody told you who they think you are. Who do you believe who you are? So I think your culture starts with that because you can reshape or redefine who you are in your culture versus what you've grown up to be or how your family raised you or how the world around you sees you. Because at the end of the day, how you see yourself. You shape your own culture. You make your own traditions.
That's true, but I forget who said. I don't know if it was you, Mary, or Daryl, maybe April, that said that you know if you have no other experiences, because your self love is shaped by your experiences. You
Okay.
you know you develop that love by all the experiences that you've had in your life, and if all you see is negativity about yourself and the people that you love and where you come from,
Okay.
you know how do you cultivate that self-love when all you see is degradation?
I so I would
Mm-hmm.
say when it comes to that point of view, I think sometimes when you don't know different, but there's something different out there because you can feel it. Like when I say I feel stuff in my bones, I know there's something different or transition I'm about to take. I don't know how, don't know when, don't know why, but it happens because life happens. But I think sometimes deep down, you want something different, whether you've had all negative experiences in your life or not. And I think at a turning point, even if you haven't necessarily experienced it, you start seeking stuff out. I don't care if it's Buddha, Jesus, or yoga, or your neighbor next door you never talk to. You start seeking out something because you're yearning for that connection that's different from what you know. And I think you find your way and love through there. Like how they say you can grow to love somebody. I think you can love. I think you can learn to grow and love yourself through the process.
I
It's gonna be
believe
a
that
lot.
too.
It's a lot of growing pains.
But
It's
it, but like,
hard
I
work.
believe
but
that too, and I think a lot of times
But you
people
got to be willing to put in
need
the
help.
work. That
A
leads
lot
to
of times
self
people
love.
need help to do that.
I
It's
would say
not as
I'm with
easy as
Doc.
that. It's
No,
not as
it's not.
easy as
Yeah,
that.
No,
I'm
it's
with
not as
Doc.
easy. It's
Absolutely.
not
Because if
easy.
you
Because if you
don't if
don't
you
know, there's
don't know anything else,
absolutely, absolutely. I don't care
I
what you feel in
understand
your
that point
bones,
of
but
view, but
if you don't know, if you can't just know something and not know something, right? So we kind
no,
of
what
know
I'm
what we know,
saying
and
is
that's
you know
why
that
it's
you
not
want
to
something different
it's
for yourself. That's what I
change
am saying.
But
change
Camp, I think that
change come change.
go ahead, Daryl.
I would say change usually comes about through the introduction of something else, right? You have to know there's possibility that something's different. You have to change the way you're thinking. So if you're around the same thing all the time, it's very difficult to see anything different. I know going to college for me was a great change because I was very indoctrinated into this colonized way of life because that's what I was taught, right? I went to a predominantly white high school. I didn't know a lot of things. I didn't know a lot of black leaders. I didn't know a lot. I just didn't know. These weren't things that were presented to me. I didn't know. Going to college was an awakening because I was shown different things. I started seeing different things, and then I started researching different things. So you can all. I mean, it's easy to say you can just change, but usually there has to be something introduced, or you have to know there's even change possible. And like I said, we
Well,
read all these negative things all the time.
okay.
You don't. That's where you're trapped at. You become trapped in what you see because that's all you know. And
Okay,
that's the
so
problem sometimes.
my viewpoint, I'm taking it from a personal experience. So, for example, I left home at 17. I had some good points in life, but I lost my childhood. I come from trauma, emotionally, verbally, physically, sexually. I come from all types of trauma. But even though I didn't see what to do, I just knew on the inside I wanted something different. But you got to understand, it just don't happen overnight. So, from personal experience, loving myself, took from the age of 10, I put myself in counseling, for example, until I was 23. You talking about 13 years of counseling, knowing something, this is dysfunctional, this ain't right. Like, even though nobody told me, I've talked to family members, I've talked to professionals. Deep down, it was something, not something missing, but you kind of, if you in tune, I've always been in tune with myself. So for me, my
But you found
experience,
help, right? As I said, you found help.
I found
Something
help by
that you
I
went
kept
and
asking
looked for help
questions.
to
I
help
sought
you
it out
grow.
myself.
Yeah. So when you went to talk to somebody else and you were able to grow. Now, if there's no one to talk to, if you have no one to get knowledge from outside of you, right? If you're in a place where that circle is lit, you're not getting any answers, it's hard to grow in that situation, right? I
I would
deal with
agree
families all
because
the
that
time that don't
right.
grow. So I hear your anecdotal, I deal with all the time that are like, they can't go outside of their family because it's all, they've been doing this for 40 years plus. Everybody's indoctrinated
Long
into this
time.
culture that they made, and this is what it is. And there, you become stuck to circumstances at that point because you don't know there's anything
Correct.
better. You don't know. Like if you live in Camden and you think Philly is going out of state, like you're traveling, that's a
I mean, that is
mindset, right?
technically
You're
out of
trapped in,
state.
right? And that's what we're talking about. Where these people really believe going from Camden to the Cherry Hill Mall is 5 minutes away in a car. But that's
Right.
the
I
change on
get
your
it.
brain. That's not knowing any better, and it's tough to grow when the people around you are not growing. If your circle is that, if your circle
Circles
so
that
big,
small.
sometimes you can't get that knowledge you need. Like for you, luckily you went out there. And how many people are going to get help? Let's be honest. How many people are going to talk to somebody? Because that's really taboo. I don't know many people that I know that were going to help or looking for help or that was cool. I thought it was a problem going to talk to the counselor at school. That's corny. Like, you corny. Why are you talking to the counselor
Right.
at school? So that, like, we kind of trap ourselves sometimes. So the thing is, it's not that easy to get out of whatever you're doing sometimes.
No.
That training
Well,
around the
I would
brain.
say it took 2 decades. It was a long, hard journey. It was 2 decades, even with. But see, I think it's all about everybody's different. Because I was the type of kid I would go through the yellow pages back in the day and look up
Well, you
and try to find
special. That's good.
keywords, like just different stuff.
You were a special kid.
But yeah, it takes a long time. It's not overnight, but for sure.
And everybody is not going to be that resourceful for themselves
True.
because they don't have that go get 'em type personality, or I mean, dare I say, privilege to
You're right.
care about themselves in that way, to know that these are the steps that's going to help them advocate for themselves in a different way. So, like it takes a village, and for somebody to even have that much permission to give themselves to say, you know what, I deserve better and I'm going to get better for me. It usually takes a breakthrough of some sort, especially when the
Yes.
culture of the people around you don't represent the change that you want. Change is not easy. Like, you could look at a workout that Daryl is giving you, like, okay, I ain't ready for that change because I'm not jumping on the floor and doing what
Correct.
it is that he does, because I'm gonna be out of breath. But you're like, okay, I might do the juicing that April is talking about, but then she's always stirring
Yes,
some good
ma'am.
food on the screen. So I want some of that food that she's stirring up on the screen. So it's like, you gotta take it
It's a
on
balance.
how you regulate your version of change, because change is hard and it's a process, step by step. That, are you going to fight the culture? Are you going to be loyal to how you define what culture is for you? Because when you break the chains of culture, are you disobeying what you've been raised to believe and what you've been raised to follow? And what does that mean to you? Because that's where the mindset comes in saying, okay, I'm ready to do something different and I'm okay with the fallout of what happens in that process.
That's a good question.
Think about how many times you hear a family member's like, I'm gonna go talk to somebody about this. Like, what? You gonna talk to somebody about that? You ain't gotta talk to nobody.
Shame you right from the
They
gate.
don't know no more than nobody else. And then they take it away from you, right? They
like,
made
steal your soul.
Yeah.
So now you're like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do it, or I'm not talking about it again because it wasn't received in a positive way.
You're right.
So that right there could stop you from growing especially if that person want to take you to where you need to go. So now you don't ask them because you don't got to ride there because you don't want to hear the nonsense.
Or you value that person's opinion and how your change matters.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And then there's
And if you're unable to take responsibility for changing, you know, what you don't find lovable about yourself, that's not easy to do either.
And I found the other people who just changes every day or every other day because they just go for broke.
They change, but they're not satisfied.
Right.
Daryl didn't hear you, Camp.
Oh, I was saying the other type of people that change but go for broke. The change may be every other day. It's not consistent because they're trying to figure out where they fit in at, if that makes sense.
Because they don't know who they are.
You right.
You don't even know who you are. You're just trying to be a chameleon for acceptance. Yeah.
I'm not accepting.
But I think that's how it comes about like that. I think because I think when you step out, you feel uncomfortable because it's different, right? You don't just change the first day. I think it takes time for you to get comfortable with that change. You know, you might get scared and you might regress. Like, wait, I ain't ready for that. That ain't. And over time, you know, you start feeling uncomfortable, and then it becomes, you know, hopefully it becomes normal.
That's the whole premise of code switching. If you were comfortable being yourself at all times, there would never be a need for code switching.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out, do I even code switch?
But I don't think that code switching necessarily. I don't think code switch. I don't think code switching necessarily means that you're not comfortable with yourself. It may do it because, you know, they're not comfortable, and I need to speak to my audience. So for them to receive me, I have to talk or speak or act in. Because if someone's not receiving your message, then there's no point to give it. We have to talk so our audience can receive it. Because if they're not receiving our message, then what are we doing, right? What's the point? If we're up here talking in a way that no one, just like you and Doc and Mary started talking real clinically, and I just couldn't understand it. It would make no sense. You have to just dumb it down so that I understand it. You have to talk to me in my level.
I think that's different than code switching. Because if I write a psychological evaluation and I use all technical terms because I'm writing it for another psychologist, that's different than writing it for you know, the caseworker or maybe the judge who might say, you know, don't use all those technical terms. I think that's different than code switching.
Well, I think of code switching.
I thought code switching. Well, what is code switching then? What is your definition? Can somebody define it?
I talk like this to everybody, right? I really do. But then sometimes I'd be like, let me switch it up. So I go, hi, how are you doing? Girl, fabulous. It's how do you pronounce your name? LaJoya or LaHoya? Just call me Kent.
La Jolla.
So again, that
no. When I say code switching, it's around white people to make them feel comfortable because they can barely take this.
Absolutely. That's what I thought it was too. That's what I thought it was. It's me speaking in a way that is comfortable for them, so that they can receive the message. Like I said, I knew a guy who was he couldn't code switch, and he had a great message. They couldn't receive it because how he talked. You know, like, yo, I'm saying this is what we need to do. Whoop, whoop, wop, 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 wop. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, whoa. And they was like, thank you. They heard nothing. You know what I mean?
Right, because they couldn't get past.
They couldn't get past him. Him being him. Yeah, they couldn't get past him. And it wasn't that he was wrong. They didn't understand it. So I thought code switch was really just kind of speaking to a group or anyone in a way so they could understand it.
I think we even code switch by how we dress and how we wear our hair. Because, you know, I like color. But I know sometimes when I'm going to be at a predominantly black school, it's not always well received. I tone my color down. When I go work in a predominantly white school, they be like, oh, we just love your glasses. Oh my gosh, your color is so fabulous. Where did you go? Like, it's totally different. I feel like in some spaces I can fully be myself versus I'm always myself, but I think I just tone it down a bit. And toning down is not much for me. But yeah, I think that's part of code switching too.
I know I have a hashtag that I created in regards to some leadership stuff that I do that I call it daily divorce of self. Yeah. And it's directly connected to code switching because we have to do a daily divorce of self. Because if you go into a meeting a certain day, you got to think about, is it with funders? Is it with my people? Is like, who is it? Because I have to decide how I want my hair, how I'm going to dress, how are they going to read my cover story, and the wording that I'm going to use from the first 10 seconds when I enter into the room, or the first 7 seconds when I enter into the room. So it's a daily divorce of self that we as melanated people go through from looking at who it is that we have to show up to on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
So that would be, I mean, like, I got a whole thing on code switching when it comes to building up leaders and stuff like that.
I just remember
and whenever I say it in a training, colonizers are always like, I'm sorry, Mary, can you say that again?
I've seen that done with you.
And I'm like, I sure can, Becky.
Absolutely. No, I got you, Stephanie.
I got you. Let me break it down for you.
No, not I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I can do that.
I can do that for you very clear. Let me give you a different example on how I had to divorce myself so that I could present to you today.
Yeah.
I just remember when I first got locks, my aunt-in-law from down south, she was in teaching education for over 35 years. She said, what you doing with your hair? I said, I'm wearing it just like this. She goes, do me a favor, roll your hair when you go to this interview, and I bet you get it. I was like, I respect her so much. I was like, let me just roll my hair to get her off my back. It was a lot. And I rolled my hair, like I pin curled it, rolled it and pin curled it, and had it real neat and nice and glossy. And they were like, we love your hair. Is that all yours? I was like, yes, it is. Black people hair, it does grow. And she was like, and she called me like, did you get the job?
Hair has nothing to do with the job.
Right. But I think
don't like, my hair has nothing to do with this.
Right, but her thing was, you're new to education, you need to look the part, you need to dress the part, you need to go in there and be quiet and just only give them
code switch.
Right. She was like, you need to hold code switch your whole self. She said, only answer when you're spoken to, type of thing. And I was like, don't this sound like some buffoonery from the black code?
Control, colonize.
I just felt like that's the culture that she grew up with. So it was projected onto me as an older millennial. And after that interview, I didn't do that again. So however I felt that morning or wherever I was at, it was what it was. You take me or leave me.
But you were in already though, right?
No, but I didn't stay there long because I don't do discrimination well or control well. It's across the board. It's just crazy. That's different to me. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just
so. Are we good on how culture defines our self-love and how it applies differently in regards to different settings that we're in, and recognizing that we don't own it or we do own it in certain places, and who it's about?
I feel like that's fair.
We need to love ourselves enough to fight for these more positive roles and not be okay with us coming out of jail. We can't
be afraid to stand up for ourselves, right?
Right.
We got to understand there's no positives in that.
None whatsoever.
Okay? You can't like there. You can't pour syrup on shit and call it pancakes.
Oh my God.
It is syrup on it. It's syrup on it.
That's just sticky shit.
So it's like pancakes. No.
Right.
No, it's not. No, can't sprinkle the goodness on top and then forget what the bottom is, because that's what's going to last longer in people's minds. You know, because everybody has the situations on top, but everybody's not coming into situations with the backstory that they see.
And I don't think they look at.
And that's why.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think they look at the long-term effects.
No.
You know, because people are
No,
quick
they do.
to say,
they do.
Well, yeah, you're
they
right.
They do. This is on purpose. This keeps that control.
Right.
Yeah. They know exactly what they're doing. They stop. Again, if they stop
you're
these type
right.
of
You're
negative
right. The
images,
powers
you
that
talking
be
about
know.
colonizers?
The powers that be know. But we don't look at the long-term effects.
Well, but they be planning for centuries before it actually happens.
Yeah.
Like the science, like the University City, the science and all that good stuff. They was planning that 200 years ago before the Great Migration.
We don't
Like they planned the
we don't
flag for
look at
Juneteenth
it.
since 1997.
Well,
they
actually, the flag for Juneteenth is
started
not
it.
the. But here's the thing: we've already had a flag for that in Texas. It was a Texas holiday before it became a federal holiday last weekend. That's not the real flag. That's not the real colors. That's
You know what? Thank you for bringing that up, LaJoya,
It's
because
always I've
that's
celebrated Juneteenth since I was born, and we already had
right.
a flag. The colors already mean something, and it ain't the colors of the flag that's up today. That's whack.
Thank you.
So if you
Thank you for
Obviously,
bringing
your
that
wait a
up.
minute.
you gonna
Obviously,
flag
your
it in
little
my face,
Texas
I'ma
flag,
cut it up.
your little
Tear it
Texas
up.
flag was local. Excuse me, your little Texas flag was local because this dude got it copyrighted. He owns it. So your little Texas flag gonna come down.
He can own whatever new age
Oh my goodness.
2021
No,
Juneteenth flag, but that's
1997.
not the flag we know.
He went
It don't
to
matter.
the trademark. It don't matter what you did before that because the trademark
The
he owns.
trademark is great,
So
but that's not the flag we use, so it don't
Are we
matter.
finished talking about
obviously it is
self-love?
because wait a minute, excuse me. I see his flags all over everywhere. His flags in the building and with the federal holiday. His flag is
That's
synonymous with the
great.
federal
But
holiday.
it was.
We
But
don't
it's a
even know
state
about this. Listen,
It was a state
your little
holiday.
Texas state
We do
holiday.
things differently. We know
Okay,
different, so it don't
cool,
matter.
cool. Federal law supersedes state law. So your little state law was cute, but he said
but
this is
Texas
your
used to be
flag.
its own country, and Texas
The Jewish
functions as
man,
such. So it doesn't matter.
Jewish man
Who
said,
cares?
"This is your new flag. Stop flying that little Texas nonsense, or he gonna send a cease and desist legally. Cease and
You just
desist.
mad because you're not from here.
A cease and
You
desist.
just mad because you're not from
A
here.
cease and desist." He said, "Cease and desist on that nonsense you guys got. This is your flag. Okay, this is where you're at." And that's the
maybe
problem with handling.
Juneteenth flag.
Maybe next week I should show
Yeah.
you a real Juneteenth flag from Texas, and then show this trademark that we're talking
Absolutely.
about.
Listen,
And
you
see the
can't show me anything because the Jewish man, I forget his name, he said this is your flag, okay? And this is what's connected to the federal holiday. But again, that's crazy because if
That's
Texas
great.
did jump out
But we've
and do these
we've
things,
already had off.
I don't listen.
We've already had a
we
day
don't care.
off. It took y'all to just know
Okay,
this.
so
It took a Jewish
so
person to
again,
educate black people about their own holiday.
this
That's
is
dumb.
this is typical black people. One section of black people in Texas
You know
are
what? You
so
just wanna go
excited
back and
that
forth.
they've
We
been
can
doing
rise over
this.
So what's the closing thoughts for today?
Okay, cool. So one person, so Texas, people
Mary,
in Texas,
thank you
like, we have
for
this.
putting the thing up.
Thank-
Self-love, yes.
Thank
Closing
you.
thoughts.
Okay, so anytime you're ready. So Texas was celebrating this for
Oh my
years,
gosh.
and they were so happy about
You
it,
just gotta
but
get
they
the last word.
didn't make it national. They didn't go national with it. They did make something that everybody could be a part of, and they were like, we're celebrating this all by ourselves. But it took another man, white man, to say, you know what?
But do you
this
know?
is gonna be a national
Since you're
holiday
still talking, not to be funny, do
that
you know
everybody
who
gets.
was fighting for this
I
to
don't know.
be
We can't
federal
talk at the
holiday?
same
A black
time.
woman
If we're
from
singing,
Fort
we could do
Worth.
this.
She fought
So
for 10 years
what
in
has to
Raleigh
happen
on the
is
steps of
you should
Washington, D.C.
just
Not a
wait till
Jewish
I'm
man.
done
He just
talking to
making money off the
interject.
flag that he trademarked.
I
But she
know
fought
you're
for over a
upset.
decade to get to the
Oh my
federal holiday.
God.
I know you're upset. I
There
know
you
you're
go.
upset, but just wait. This is very
Actually
rude
not
of some
upset.
people.
I just don't think
So
I care about a Jewish
you're
person who
talking.
trademarked the
Obviously, you're
Juneteenth flag.
upset because
That
you're
has
still
nothing to do
talking
with
as I'm
me.
talking. So you're
I don't
talking.
celebrate that. Oh, you were talking.
There you go. You're still
Let me be
talking.
quiet
There
and
you go.
listen, because
So
you have to.
there
You're the
you
big man on campus, the big mic.
Well, no, because
Let
I'm
me be
talking.
quiet.
No, only because I was.
Let me be
No, because I was talking. It's
I'm
how
just glad
conversations
it's
go.
not
One
me.
person talks.
Right?
So all I'm
Everybody
saying is
talking.
that.
I love Daryl.
All I'm saying is that if Texas was such a leader in this Juneteenth thing, then why did he not take it to the level where this other gentleman did, that where it's connected to something federal, right? That's all I'm saying. Like, why did they not? They kept this for themselves. If you say you've been celebrating this forever, then why wasn't it something
Order in the
that
chat.
they were like, listen, why wasn't it something Texas said, yo, this is important. We need to push it further than just Texas. We need to go further with it. This flag we have. This is something that needs to be promoted to everyone, to all of the descendants of slaves that this reaches. Why did they not do that? And now this other man, from my understanding, took it upon himself since 1997, and now
I know how to resolve all of
okay.
this. I'm gonna start a change petition, change.org.
Sure do. That's great.
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
petition the NAACP. How about that?
That's great.
Yeah, and why? That's my thing. Why are they not? Why are they not? Like nobody. I have heard no one say anything about this. Right? So except you, April. Outside of you, I would have not have known this was even the flag or anything. Why is no one else speaking out about this? Are people okay with this? Are these groups like NAACP, are they okay with it? Are these black coalitions okay with this? You know, what is going on? What's going on? Take a sip, because this is, I'm telling you, this is where we fail ourselves every time, because we give our power away to others. And then they control what we do. They control what music we listen to. They control what we watch on TV, because we make everything, but we don't own anything. Right? And I'm really upset if Texas was really a forefront of this, and they were pushing this, and they were already doing this, and no one really knew as a whole. Now they're
About
taking credit for
Juneteenth,
something.
I
Give
feel
it
like
up the
people
net.
have known, but we close ourselves to learn about our whole history. We're like, oh, this is Black history. It's
No,
not
what I'm
Black
saying is
history.
not. But I'm saying known to the point where these people are now taking it. They made it holiday. They said, "This is what we're doing for you. We all voted to this. We want to give you guys Juneteenth, and we're all gonna have off on this day. And not only are we gonna give this day off,
because they
give you a
avoiding
flag.
all these other things that's
to be
important.
honest, it's a distraction, and they know
Black
people jump for anything and everything. Oh, national holiday! Oh my gosh, extra day off. But they're not doing the real work on the backdrop. The people we vote in, or the people we refuse to vote for, or vote at all. So to be honest, people have known about this, but is it important to you? We as Black people, we learn about everything else but our own stuff. It's a choice.
But that's the point we're missing. We're missing the point. The point is we do things half-assed. No one, like you said, Texas was already was running. So my thing is, why do we? Well, I'm not really talking in general. I'm saying in general, why are we not? You know, again, we should know by now that we need to start owning our stuff. We shouldn't let them always beat us to and own it and tell us how to now do it. You're going to do it on this day. And this is the flag you're going to use. Now, like you said, now commercialize it. We're going to put this flag on a shirt, and you're going to buy it because this is your holiday. We know you're going to buy it. So now we're going to make money off of you on your holiday that we're all off on. That's a problem to me.
I understand, right? But us who jump on everything, of course, we'll end up buying it. I'm not, but it's different.
At Target, at Walmart, but not from the Black-owned businesses that.
But like they have stuff on Facebook and other social media. If you're gonna buy anything from Juneteenth or any Black other holiday that we started or helped, it was influenced by us. Please do not buy from mainstream. Please buy from Black-owned.
No, like see my shirt, Black-owned.
Yeah,
right,
good.
A Black-owned company, Bunny's design. This is where I got from. But my thing is that I'm upset that I hear from April that this guy has made us a flag, right? When someone has made a flag to represent us, I don't know how much input we had on it. I don't know how, we don't know how it came about. I definitely know more, but once again, it's like we are being taught or told what to do by others.
We are going to continue to be told what to do as long as we sip on the same syrup they've been feeding us since slavery or before that. We're going to keep sipping on the same shit.
But that's what I mean, because we're not.
I'm not trying to think it's until as a collective we love ourselves more and work with each other and want to cooperate with each other more, and it's not about the next being jealous or about the next person doing something that we're afraid of. Everybody can eat, everybody can work together. Until we learn that fully, wholeheartedly as a people, the same cycle is going to keep happening. So it takes us and other individuals to break the cycle.
And so how do we do that?
The Juneteenth flag that's been trademarked is not going to be the last thing. Trust me.
We need to start having positive, portrayals of us in the media, in on the news,
that's
on the.
And we
need to have
tonight.
positive.
Amen.
Everywhere.
It's crazy.
See, and even that, right? There's a lot of murders, right? And but we can't make that all we are. It has to be. But so I just seen the story today. Camden City, at an all-time low in crime, right? And what did they do? They fired all the police, got out of office, and started over. They have some of the best training. They give the police officers some of the best training. They have something where they're taking people from the community. So a lot of people, the police, I guess, are from the community or something like that. But it's working, right? It's not working anywhere else because they don't care that we're being killed, right?
I will say
they don't care.
I will say I was in ATL and I saw the safest policing I've ever seen in life. With one of us get taken down by, I know they get a bad rap in Atlanta, but by majority of us Black and brown people as the police officers. And it was horrific, but it was the safest takedown I've ever seen. Because somebody could have got killed. And I was sitting
What's the murder rate in Atlanta?
Huh?
What's the murder rate in Atlanta?
What's the
murder rate in Atlanta? Yeah.
I don't actually know the murder rate, but lately, the last couple of years, they've had against threats and against complaints about the mayor, how the police do policing, crime, the whole nine. I don't know the exact number, but I'm just saying,
again,
like.
Yeah, I know that, the crime and the stuff that's going on is crazy right now.
It is, but just witnessing that was.
But it's crazy everywhere. You know what I mean? And they focus on the crazy among us. And I think to continue to have that negative view of us as well. I mean, it's not great, right? But I mean, we could report bad in every neighborhood, right? We can report bad. And I don't know what the murder rates are anywhere else, but they don't tell us anywhere else. They tell us where, unless it's a mass shooting, we don't know what's going on in other areas that people may be dying or getting shot or what the case may be. And that's what I would like to look at. Even that, yeah, I know. Philly,
Baltimore too.
Be and more careful.
Why? What's going on?
Because what's going on is we're not dealing with the root issue, but that's not what the conversation was tonight.
True.
No, what I'm saying is that if the Camden was one time murder city, number one, right, for square, number one, they were laying bodies down to go to. They had lowest crime in 50 years, and they had 5 complaints against police for being too rough or something like that. Only 5, right? So whatever they're doing, they're attacking the problem somehow, some way.
But they also
like the Camden was legit.
But Camden also changed the headquarters. They brought in Subaru. They brought in major companies. They offered.
No. They didn't. What happened was the police changed first, right? When they did the thing of police and they fired all the police and everything, and then
so they offered jobs that was paying people, so they didn't have to be on survival narrative.
But when people don't have no place to go or don't have no job and to eat, crime does go up.
No, so they're not really hiring people from the area to work these jobs. Right? The Subaru that came in, what they did is they're gentrifying. No, wait a minute. They're gentrifying. No. They're gentrifying Camden because they're pushing all the Black people out first. That's one thing they're doing. Everybody's being moved out. Even from me, where we worked at, that's why we got moved out of our building, because they don't want that type of those people down there. They moved up from down there. The methadone clinic from down there. All that's moved away from there, right? They're pushing people up the highway. So what they're doing is, now what happens is the colleges and hospitals have bought up everything in Camden. They own everything, right? So, and then now Subaru, who came down there, they're on the outskirts. You have Campbell down there. You have the Sixers down there. But that's all these two also for the gentrification. They're buying everything up. They're getting the people out of there. But also with policing, they're not allowing people to be out there anymore like they used to be. When you would walk down the street, it would be you out there. You can get whatever you wanted walking down the street. It was like, what do you want? You want up or downers, left or right? What you want? Da. You can get it.
Liquor and everything
with everything. But now with the police presence they have, they're shutting it down. So what I'm saying is that this could be implemented other places if they really wanted crime to stop, right? If they really wanted it, because they have so many police down there intimidating it, where it's really tough to get away with something. right? It
But
is
where are
really
they pushing
tough.
the people? Because they
Up
still
the
need
highway, up
somewhere
like
to live.
Sicklerville.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And that's the issue. So when gentrification started,
Yep,
now
April.
the prices.
Once there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah, see,
access to certain
once
things.
gentrification
I
starts,
said, well,
like I
we didn't
knew.
have homeless people walking around, or so-called homeless people
People
walking
walking
around.
around here.
All I
But
know
you
is then
start
you can see white people jogging, right, in Camden, which you never saw before. They're jogging, they're having a great time. I'm like, whoa, wow, this is different. So the
No, it's changed.
gentrification is real.
Definitely.
It is really real, and they're protecting, right? They're not out there getting knocked in the head or robbed. So what I'm saying is that when they want to police
Robots is
a
real.
community the right way, they can
yes.
do it.
I'm like, who wrote that? Okay,
What happened?
sorry.
I'm sorry. What happened?
There was a bot.
It was a bot that just jumped in with a whole thesis statement. It's gone.
Okay. I'm just thinking, when they want to police an area the correct way to reduce crime, they can do it. But I'm saying not doing it in these areas where, in Philly, where they could do it, they're not doing it. I think they're getting the left, they're
But I don't
not.
think they do it until the complexion starts changing. The complexion of the area starts changing.
Oh, absolutely. Because I know in Liberty Cities, this ain't happening. You're not having this in Liberty Cities. Certain places.
Where's Liberty Cities?
Huh?
Where's Liberty Cities?
Like the second, third over.
Are you talking about in Philly, Northern Liberties?
No, that's what I said. What I say? I'm sorry.
Oh, Northern
You
Liberty.
said Liberty.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm like,
Liberty
where's
City.
I
that?
was like, Liberty City.
I thought you was talking about
My office used to be in Northern
Jersey.
Liberties. I ain't never heard of Liberty City.
No, I thought it was a new spot. I was like,
Yeah, I'm like,
there you go,
my
Mary.
office used to
Hey,
be in
Mary,
Northern Liberties.
thank you. Hey, thank you, Mary, for listening to me. Everybody wasn't listening. You was paying
I was like,
attention.
my last
Thank you,
No,
Mary.
my office was in Northern Liberties. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about somewhere in Jersey. I'm like,
Right?
He said Liberty City. I was like, what? Where is this?
Okay. There, Northern Liberty. Yeah.
Northern Liberty.
Nah, it's just crazy. Like, I think they can if they want, but they don't want to. They want us killing each other.
It's a benefit.
And that's part of the plan. That's part of the plan.
The 10-year abatement. They moving for 10 years. So having kids, they move out to the suburbs.
Right.
And they didn't have to pay taxes for 10 years. But that's another story. Yeah.
Closing thoughts, please.
You always rushing us off. Closing.
You always rushing us
Where you
into
gotta go?
the
You gotta go
conversation.
somewhere tonight. You got somewhere to go tonight.
If I did, you wouldn't let me, so it's all good.
No, not at all.
You would tell me that I had curfew.
Are you allowed to?
Am I blocking?
Right?
Look at that. Allowed. We don't. I know we don't use words like allow.
And let.
That's
permission.
not okay.
Right.
Permission. Let. I know we can't use those words. It's a trigger word.
That's right.
Say.
Nobody has authority over us.
Nobody has authority, but
I don't think anybody has any.
I am so confused.
Pretty much, I think that's what it is.
No.
Yeah.
So now you're going to force us. You're going to force us to have closing words. I tell you.
I don't think there's any closing words.
All right, Doc. I hear you loud and clear.
I agree with that.
Where you got to go, Doc?
Huh?
Don't be attacking my Coco-licious. So thank you all for joining us on another Friday night conversation, a sip and chat, where we
You got to cut it off, hairdo in.
Oh, I do like your hair,
where we were talking about our culture and self-love. Do we own it? Do we, know what it is and how it gets set off? I think we talked about it from different, angles and, just the reality from the premise of the show that it was set around. So I think that it was a very interesting conversation. I hope you do as well. And Ruth said, hush, Daryl. We're supposed to have closing thoughts.
Hey, Ruth, where you got? You got to go somewhere tonight.
She probably she should come into the daggone green room with us. But anyhow, thank you if you're catching us on the replay. We shall see you next Friday as we enter into the holiday weekend. So see you on the flip side. As always, thank you for catching us. Take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.